Hey, hello, and welcome to the Whole Loaf. My name is Paul Bertzloff. I am with the love of my life and my wife of 28 years, and with Deb Murray, a food stylist to the stars and author of 17 different cookbooks. You know, we're gonna fess up. Okay, we are one-take wonders. Okay, so we're shooting on a cell phone. We're one-take wonders, and I forgot to turn on the airplane mode, which means about 1/3 into the last show, okay, I received a telephone call from my daughter, all right, which then ended the video. And it was a phenomenal show. I mean, it was probably the absolute, positively best show that we have ever had. And this one, probably not so much. But anyway, so like a lot of our stuff is already cooked because we were one-hit wonders. And so you're gonna know what I'm talking about. You know, I love Christmas time. This is the most wonderful time of the year. I'm one of those crazy guys that as soon as Thanksgiving Day comes, I turn on the Christmas music. I'm singing all of the different Christmas songs. The only issue is I don't know the words to all the songs. I know like one or two lines, and that's about it. So I just drive everybody crazy. Yes. I'm one of those guys. I actually enjoy going to the mall. I enjoy, you remember Black Friday, being out there at 2 o'clock in the morning and going to the outlet malls. Yeah, I enjoy it. Right. This year's a little bit different, right? This year can be a little bit aggravating, a little bit frustrating. Like even tonight, doing it twice in a row can be a little bit aggravating, a little bit frustrating, can cause a little tension in family, right? Can it? I mean, perfect example right here tonight. Perfect example. But that's exactly what happens. During the Christmas season, we start hosting parties. We get to see people that you maybe haven't seen them in a year. And so some of the tension can arise. And so what are we making here tonight? So we're going to focus on some good, is healthy? Good, healthy dishes to build strong relationships and healthy lives.
And they're going to be easy.
They're going to be easy, and they're good. They're good.
And what I'm doing tonight, Paul, is I don't always do keto. I don't even know that I necessarily believe in keto. But if you check out of the grocery store line, everyone says that's the way to lose body fat. And with keto, you're eating no carbs. You're eating good, healthy fats. So what I wanted to come up with was a way to be good when you're being in the holiday season. So I'm going to teach you how to make noodles. Paul's going to taste them for you. They're made with mozzarella cheese and egg, and it's super easy. There's no flour, no carbs. And then we're going to make chicken parmesan, which we did in the last video from start to finish. So now you're just
I've already eaten it, and it's all very good. It's all excellent.
At least
all right?
the suspense
So we're making the suspense is gone. So we're eating keto noodles with chicken parmesan.
Correct.
All right, and what are you making over here?
So over here I have stuffed mushrooms, and very easy again, and you can take to a party. And then also I have buffalo chicken dip, and both recipes you can make low fat, you can put all fat, whatever you want, and it's just very super easy, and everyone always loves it.
Okay, so we got some spicy buffalo chicken dip.
Yeah.
And so, when we were doing this, the very first thought that came to my mind is, during the Christmas season, right, things can very easily spiral out of control, hence our noodles. So things can very easily spiral out of control, especially with family and friends, all that kind of stuff, right? And then all of a sudden, people get sauced. Okay? And then they do things and they say things that are destructive, that are harmful, that are hurtful to relationships. And then ultimately we end up stuffing a lot of our feelings down, right? We don't deal with our feelings. We don't deal with the motivation of our hearts and what's going on inside.
Right.
And then all of a sudden it gets kind of hot out there, right? You know what I mean? The relationships start to boil over, they start to simmer, and it just gets hot. And once again, it can become extremely destructive. And so, as we're entering into this holiday season, and we're getting ready to celebrate Christmas and see all those family and friends that we haven't seen in so long, and we want to challenge you. When you look at the scripture, Jesus always placed the highest value on relationships. In fact, one of the Pharisees came up to him, teacher of the law, said, Jesus, what is the greatest commandment? And Jesus said this: love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your soul, with all your mind, and love your neighbor as yourself. St. Paul in Romans 13 says, love is fulfillment of the law. And so all throughout Scripture, Jesus always placed the highest value on relationships. And so that's what we want to do. We want to focus on building strong, healthy relationships. But we're going to take a different tact tonight. Just like these noodles are a little bit different than any other noodle that you may have had, we want to challenge you. I want to challenge you to remember and act like your feelings are important. You know, so often we're always focused outside, right?
Right.
We're always focused on action, we're always focused on other people. But tonight I want to take a different twist. Remember and act like your feelings are important. So why don't you go ahead and show us what you're doing over here as you're stuffing the mushrooms.
Stuffing the mushrooms. So I have spinach, frozen spinach, and that is defrosted and all the water is removed. A little bit of Philadelphia cream cheese. You can use any fat consistency. The julienne sun-dried tomatoes. I like it much better in the jar than in the package. I just find that they're softer and they just have more flavor. A little bit of garlic, a little bit of salt and pepper, and it's very simplistic. And I'm just assembling these here right now, and then I'll pop them in the oven at 400 for 20 minutes.
So you just add it all together. We do have all of the recipes online.
Yes.
You can follow the link or go to oursaviorfl.org, and all of our recipes are right there online. I noticed also that you kind of carved out the mushrooms a little bit here.
That's a great tip.
I do that because I like all the stuff, and that's you have to do that to actually get more item in there. So yes, definitely.
That
do
is a great idea.
Isn't it?
I've never ever thought
You don't want to eat too many vegetables.
No, no.
All right,
Actually, you know what? I actually just read an article today that talks about there's a direct correlation between feeling good about yourself and how many portions of vegetables that you eat.
Is that right?
Yes, actually, the more vegetables, there's a study out of the UK, the more vegetables you eat, the healthier or the better that you'll even feel about yourself. And depression. I mean,
Yeah, that
that's
makes
all.
sense.
Yeah, I'm going
Yeah.
off on a tangent, but
Get
that's a
lots
very
of vitamins
multifaceted.
and
Yeah.
so forth. Yeah, that's awesome. I like
But
that.
they play a powerful role. So we want you to stuff your mushrooms, but I don't want you to stuff your feelings. You know, and so yeah, I heard a story. It was kind of a strange story. A husband and wife, you know, they went to the county fair, and the wife wanted to go on the Ferris wheel.
Right.
Okay, the husband took one look at the Ferris wheel and said, "No, I am not going on the Ferris wheel." He wanted absolutely nothing to do with it. So the wife, she went on the Ferris wheel all by herself. The husband was standing on the ground and watched her. She went around once, went around twice, went around the third time, and all of a sudden, it came to a jolting stop. And the wife flew out of the Ferris wheel car, and she landed in a heap right at her husband's feet. Her husband said, "Honey, are you hurt?" And she said, "Of course I'm hurt. What's wrong with you? I went around 3 times, and you never waved at me once."
It was
what she was feeling.
She
It's
was
what she was
annoyed that he
experiencing.
ignored her.
Yeah.
That's so
Yeah.
funny.
And
Probably
so-
a broken neck.
Yeah, we want to talk to you about the difference between dealing with your anger and feeding your anger. Because way too often, we just let our anger grow. We feed our anger. Way too often, we just let that anger simmer, don't we?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we just let it sit on the back burner, and it just simmers away. And what happens when something simmers?
Well, if you over simmer, you burn on the bottom, and then it's ruined, right? I mean, that's what happens. All the liquid evaporates, and then all of a sudden it's worthless because it's all crusty and burnt on the
It
bottom.
gets crusty and nasty, and it's hard to clean and hard to deal
Oh,
with,
yeah,
and it's just
exactly.
a whole bunch of negative things. Now, we didn't let this simmer too long, did we?
Well,
We're
we
getting
do have
close?
some. We're
Okay.
getting close.
We're getting close.
We don't want to do
to-
it a third time.
Yeah,
Okay.
we can't do it.
Third.
We don't have any more ingredients. We can't do it a third time.
Why don't you try the mushroom real
Okay,
quick?
so let me give the mushrooms. So
Those look so good.
this once again, this is my second time trying the mushrooms, and the first time around they were excellent. And
I love all those ingredients, Suzanne. That's
They
an
are so
excellent,
good.
Excellent idea.
And
30 minutes later, they're still excellent.
good.
I just got one. I love the tomatoes. So
Yes.
I love the tomatoes in them. So I just
It
got
just
one
gives
of
that
those.
little bit of fun.
Spinach
I
and
agree.
the cream cheese. I love it. I bet you could put a little goat cheese in them too.
Ooh, yes.
I'm so buying.
Yes.
I'm so doing these.
You're
things.
so gonna do
And
it.
once again, we're using the regular full fat cream cheese.
Right.
And then you can, if you want to be calorie conscious, you can use the
other.
reduced calorie cream cheese as
Right.
well. And so anyway, so we want to challenge you once again. Don't let that anger grow. Don't let it just because it leaks. Okay,
Yeah.
what you feel in your heart, it leaks out into your relationships.
It does.
And I sit back and I think, would you be concerned if there was a nuclear plant somewhere near you and it had a small radiation leak?
I wouldn't want to live
I mean,
there.
you wouldn't ignore it, right?
No.
Because you know it's going to cause damage. You know it's
Oh,
going to
yeah.
cause illness. And yet, the same we allow that with our hearts. Okay, so we bottle stuff up. Okay, and as we bottle up, it's like a balloon.
Yeah.
As a balloon gets bigger and bigger, either it leaks or ultimately it just pops, right? It just explodes. And I think the same thing happens with us.
I agree.
So same
Yeah.
thing happens with us. So why don't you show us what you do with these noodles?
So these are really fun, Paul. I found this recipe because I am not a huge fan of gluten-free pasta. I don't like it. It's usually slimy.
Okay.
I have found that if I do eat a lot of gluten, I tend to blow up like a balloon, as we're talking about it. So when I found this recipe, I thought, how fun. It's very easy. You're gonna take 1 cup of shredded mozzarella cheese. You're gonna pop it in the microwave for 1 minute. Then you're going to mix it in a bowl with 1 egg yolk. And that's what I was doing as Paul was sharing his wisdom with us. And then you're gonna get, it's gonna look like a dough ball, kind of similar to a dough ball if we were making.
Thick consistency.
Yep, this is the same texture, say if we were making pasta dough. I'll be curious if I were able to put that through an extruder. So now we're placing it on a piece of parchment paper. And you could use a rolling pin. I'm just gonna use my hand to flatten it out. Then I'm gonna spread it out. I'm gonna use my pasta cutter. I'm going to put it in a bowl for you, and then I'm gonna serve it with this chicken parmesan that we'll talk about a little bit later.
Very good. So we have
you can do that if you want to spread that.
We do have a roller.
Do you?
Yeah, but it's probably underneath my bed someplace because I use it for my plantar fasciitis.
Oh,
And
yeah.
so, I know. You can roll it on here. Yeah.
Yes,
So I got no
that's
idea how it works. So we'll just continue to.
You're so cute.
That's probably not a tip to share with a cooking.
That's
show,
an
is it?
excellent
Yeah.
tip, though.
But
Because
it
I'm
does.
going to tell you what, I used to get the really bad problems with my feet.
Yeah.
And then my chiropractor showed me how to do that in the back of my
Yeah.
ankle. So it definitely gives more
Now,
purpose
a
than a
rolling pin,
pin.
it does. Instead of just letting it sit in the drawer for months
Yeah.
after month,
Or using it on the milkman when they break
Yeah,
it.
there it is. So, it's like, so we want you to, like I said, we want you to remember and to act like your feelings are important. And here's some ways we want to encourage you to do that. 1, be aware of your heart's motivation. Be aware of your heart's motivation. Jesus in Matthew chapter 5, remember he said, if you're going to the altar, you're going to give your offering at the altar. And there you remember that you have a relationship issue. You know, you have something against someone or someone has something against you. He says, leave your gift there in front of the altar. First go and be reconciled to them, then come and offer your gift. I mean, you get that?
That's
The person's
wise.
at the altar. And Jesus says, if you remember that someone has something against you, go and reconcile, then come back. I mean, he puts such a high value on relationships that he says, leave the altar, go be reconciled, and then come back. Okay, so 1, be aware of your heart's motivation. 2,
So let me make up a point
Yeah.
real quick. So I read a book years ago by Michelle Wiener Davis, and she's an MSW in Chicago. And basically what she was saying, if there's a rift in your relationship, then one of you can actually make a change, and it'll actually start changing the other person.
Yeah.
And you just got to be consistent with those changes. So I just found it very interesting.
That is awesome.
Yeah, it's like I've got one of the old mechanical watches. You know, and if just one cog in your watch breaks,
Right.
it impacts the entire system, right? It'll
Nice.
no longer keep change. So one small change can impact an entire system.
Yes.
Well, the same thing is true in relationships, whether it's just with a loved one or with a family.
Right.
You know, one small change can make an impact, can make a difference in the entire system. All right, and so, you know, number 2, take your heart seriously. Okay, take what you're feeling, take your heart seriously. Because, you know, what we allow into our heart is serious business. Because what you allow into your heart, it will impact and it will affect every relationship that you are involved in. In other words, if you're harboring bitterness, or if you're allowing unforgiveness, or if you're allowing anger or contempt to be in your heart, I mean, contempt is one of the most destructive emotions or destructive characteristics of a relationship that's headed for disaster.
You're right.
And so, like, if you got something like that in your heart, I'll maintain we need to cut it out. And sometimes that requires radical surgery. I mean, radical
Making
surgery.
a change.
Yeah, making a significant change. You know, maybe you need to change your circumstances. You know, if you're being tempted at work, maybe you need to change your job, change where you live. Okay, and so what's more important? You know, your relationship or something that's temporal, something that's temporary in this world, right? And so, you know, Jesus places the highest value on relationship. And so sometimes we just need to change our actions. So I think in the first video, at this point, Deb was cooking chicken.
Right.
Right? So why don't you tell us what you do with your
So
chicken?
what I do with the chicken is I took the boneless, skinless chicken breast and I tenderized it. Now,
She
you don't
beat
have
the
to-
daylights
I
out of it,
did.
which we said,
Yet was a great way to let go of frustration.
yes,
You
now,
know?
you don't want to be punching holes into your family, you know.
No,
Yeah.
exactly. But if you're stuffing
Chicken's what they
emotions,
call them, yeah.
doing drums, you
Yeah,
know, like they have those
yeah.
new drum exercises but I like to beat my chicken.
Yeah.
So then I dip the chicken in
So why
egg.
is it important to do that?
All right, so most chicken nowadays, when they're calling it cage-free chicken, the chicken is tougher than it used to be. Do you remember chicken used to be smaller and a little more tender? So the lean pieces of chicken anymore can be very tough. So by tenderizing it like that with those little holes, it will make it more tender, but it'll also absorb the marinade faster.
I love
But
it.
I dipped it in egg, and then I dipped it in Parmesan cheese to make a coating on it, and then I simmered it in a little sauce after I made a coating. So we've made chicken Parmesan, which has absolutely no carbs. It's just got the eggs, the cheese, and the chicken. We've got our noodles, which are made from the cheese and the egg, which Paul is still rolling out.
I wasn't doing it. I was horsing around.
You're
Yeah.
so cute. But it's really great. All of this would have absolutely no insulin spike. There would be no sugar in it. It was supposed to make your body burn its own fat according to the keto plan. And then this means that tomorrow night, if you're being on the 80-20 naughty plan, you can have your eggnog ice cream tomorrow.
Okay, so yeah, so when she was cooking the chicken, I mean, it smelled delicious.
Yeah.
Just that egg and that Parmesan cheese had a nice crust on it.
Smelled like pizza.
Smelled wonderful, and then she added the sauce, and now it's just kind of simmering in the sauce as well. So Deb is gonna, we already got some noodles
Yep,
made.
you ready to
and
cut
here's,
those
yep,
up?
here's some of these right here, so.
All right, so look at how they look just like egg noodles, which is really kind of fun. I'm actually using a ravioli cutter. I'm actually gonna have to test to see if you can make raviolis with this, because I don't
Okay.
know why you couldn't. But taste that pasta.
Yeah,
Now that is just cooked mozzarella with an egg yolk.
with an egg yolk.
Now we could simmer that in the sauce, but I think that tastes really pretty
Yeah, it
tasty,
does, it's
doesn't it?
excellent. Yep, it's
Excellent.
excellent. It's excellent.
And again, it's got all the flavors that would go in in lasagna or baked ziti. That's where we put our lasagna. That's where we put our eggs. But now we're just going to place this in a bowl. I'm going to give you a little Parmesan chicken.
Yep.
You can feel good that you're not consuming carbs. You're not going to be bloated. You know, people that are celiac or just trying to stay away from carbs. This is a really fun, easy meal. Very few ingredients, and you can get dinner on the table quickly.
Yeah, and it's when we tasted it before, it's kind of strange, and that's strange. It's
Different.
yeah, it's different. It's like what's I'm trying to look for? It's heavier than a normal noodle.
Correct.
Okay, it's kind of got the same consistency.
Yeah, it's
just like, it's
balanced.
like yeah, and so it's good. I mean, the consistency is, I mean, I did a very good job of explaining it. It's a good consistency, so it's not something that's unique
Well,
or
the
strange. I
thing
guess I
with
could
the
say.
gluten-free pastas, pasta, a lot of times they're mushy. They like if you cook them, they would turn to just like mush. It didn't have a spring to it. What I like about this is it's got a little springiness to it, like you would have with a regular noodle, but the taste is just excellent.
Yeah, and it is. I mean, it's a very simple noodle. To
Yeah.
make, and it's excellent. It really, truly is. You know, I was telling you, we went back, my wife and I, we went back a couple days ago, and we remade those zucchini fries. The
they were
zucchini
great.
panko fry.
Yeah.
Oh, they came out so good. I'm telling you, like every dish we have made that these guys have shared is just absolutely, positively excellent.
And they're easy.
Yeah, every dish except for that. What'd you make that one time? That olive? What was it?
Oh, he hated my Moroccan chicken.
No, it wasn't a Moroccan chicken. What was it?
Chicken with the saffron and the black olives.
Oh, there was
yeah.
one thing, yeah.
Yeah,
Anyway,
it
that
was-
was like,
He
because
did
I
like
just
that.
don't do olives. Is all it is. It's like,
You didn't like
yeah.
the cheese balls last
That's what it was. No, the chicken was good. It was the cheese ball.
The cheese
I'm
ball.
out.
He goes,
I'm
I don't
out
wanna
with the
play.
cheese ball. Although I did have one after it was all said and done. It was good. It was good. But anyway. So here's some very practical things that you can do to basically to take your heart seriously, right? So some things that you can do to treat your heart practically. It comes from 1 Corinthians 13. It's that great love chapter. Love is patient. Love is kind. Love to you always hear it read at weddings. Every wedding you go to, you hear 1 Corinthians 13. But one of the first things it says is love is patient. Okay, 1 Corinthians 13. Love is patient. Again, St. Paul in Ephesians chapter 4 says, be patient with one another, making allowances for each other's faults because of your love. Okay, so Paul once again calls us to be patient with each other. Okay, and so one of the ways that you can basically practice to treat your heart practically is one, to be patient.
Right.
Okay, and so what does that look like? What can you change? The example I come up with is, do you ever notice when you're getting ready to go someplace
Right.
that one person is always done and ready to go first, while the other person takes longer to get,
Yes.
And so
Yes. I don't know what I'm doing. It just takes me a long time to get out of the house.
Men don't wear makeup.
Is
So
that
let's
what it
just
is?
it.
She's not high maintenance. So she's not high maintenance. I guess I'm just lower maintenance, okay? And
Yeah.
so it's like you're ready to go, right? You're looking at your watch and so either you go out and you get in the car and you drive around the block a couple of times going, where in the world are they? Come on, let's go, time is wasting.
Yeah.
Or you can just simply be patient. You can tell yourself, do that self-talk, tell yourself, calm down, and just wait. Just simply be patient. Okay, it's a great way to treat your heart practically. The other way, be kind. Okay, love is patient, love is kind. Once again, St. Paul in Ephesians 4 says, be kind to each other, tender-hearted, forgiving one another just as God forgave you in Christ Jesus. Okay, so we're called to be kind to each other. And all kinds of simple ways to simply be kind. I mean, what are some ways you guys can come up with?
Well, I mentioned in the first video,
Yeah.
I think if we all concentrate on saying nice things, because I know, don't we naturally want to be critical of somebody?
Yep.
We can just get all bent out of shape, or we can find fault with someone, but I know I feel good when someone says something nice to me.
Yeah.
So I try really hard, even if I'm at odds with that person,
True.
to say something nice to them, try to melt them, to make them feel good.
Yeah.
Focus on the positive.
Absolutely.
In our culture, critical thinking, unless you're criticizing something, you're not thinking. And so I know that's not the definition, but in our world, it seems like everybody's critical. Everybody always wants to put somebody down and focus on what's wrong.
Yeah.
But to focus on the positives.
Can I share something?
Yes.
It's
No.
so
We
so
frame.
nice.
No, I'm kidding, go ahead.
It's so nice. We have a bed that has 11 pillows. Who
love
has 11 pillows
I
on their
love
bed? You've got the decorative pillows, the pillows you sleep with. And let me tell you, to make the bed in the morning takes a lot of time. And it's when he makes the bed in the morning, it's just so
This
fun.
morning, I made the bed
Yes.
this morning. So
And it's not even a discussion, it just happens. So
we normally
That's
tag
so
tag team it, but
Right.
to be kind, do the dishes,
Be thoughtful.
take out the trash, do the diapers, speak kind words. It's not just enough to think it. There's power in speaking
Yes.
words, kind words. Your words are powerful. Your
Yeah.
words make an impact. And so be kind. And then finally, never give up. Okay, whatever you do, don't give up. Love, once again, 1 Corinthians 13, verse 7. Love always protects. Love always trusts. Love always hopes. It always perseveres. Love perseveres. There is great, great power in commitment. I cannot express how powerful commitment is. And basically, commitment is saying to the other, no matter how overwhelmed you may be or I may be feeling, even though every bone in my body is just screaming to run and to get out, I will be here. Okay, I mean, that is the power of commitment. Because when you bump heads, and every relationship bumps heads. Every relationship has its highs and its lows. It's when you're bumping heads and all heck is breaking loose, knowing that the other person is going to be there, that the other person is not going to turn away from you, is extremely powerful. And once again, it's something to talk about. To even share with each other. Because you may have had those in your wedding vows years ago, but it's something that you need to reinforce continually as well.
Yeah.
Great, great power in commitment. Okay, how's our buffalo? And you made buffalo chicken dip too.
I did.
That was a great segment. Too.
It's yes, and it's really easy. I have 3 chicken breasts that I cooked and then shredded them with just 2 forks. Makes it super easy. A little bit of wing sauce, and you can use as little or as much as you want. I have to use a lot because he loves things spicy. Philadelphia cream cheese, and then also a pack of the ranch seasoned mix.
I love that.
And you just put it all together, and you can either put it in the oven and bake it, or you can put it here on the stovetop, whichever you like. You can use vegetables, or you can have the chips. I know which one you're going to use.
I'm going to go with the cucumbers.
So,
They were
No,
so
because
good
I went with the
cucumbers.
chips last time. I'm
Yes,
just giving her a hard
so
time.
good.
So it's like, but it's served warm, and you even
Yes.
cook it in a crock pot, right?
Yes,
You were
well,
saying?
a lot of times that way when you're entertaining, it's nice and warm. But one of the things we started doing when we were selling air fryers, we would take jalapenos, we'd take the membranes and the seeds out,
Yeah.
stuff the buffalo chicken dip in them, wrap them in bacon with some toothpicks and cook them in the air fryer. So it'd be crusty and salty, spicy and hot, and then creamy and hot on the inside. It was like insane.
Double the heat.
We
Yeah,
definitely need
love
to do
the
that
heat.
as a segment one of
Yes,
these
yes,
days.
it was
For
excellent.
sure.
It was excellent. So some very, excellent dishes, some unique dishes, easy
Great
to prepare. Yep. Like I said, you can make them extremely healthy or not so healthy, depending on where you're at, what you like. Perspective, yeah.
Yep.
But it's great dishes and good way to build strong, healthy bodies and strong, healthy relationships. Hey, So which one was better, the first or the second?
I think the second. I think
Did you really?
did well.
I think it was. I'm not sure, but we're glad you joined us.
Thank you
All
for
right,
tuning
thank
in.
you for tuning in. Hey, you guys have a great day.
Share it with
God
your
bless,
friends.
live, love. All of the recipes, once again, are on oursaviorfl.org, and they are worth it. Don't miss it. All right, we'll talk to you real
Thank you.
soon. God bless.
God bless.